In my early days of playing Magic, once I had opened some packs and built a small collection of bulk, I stored them all in an old shoebox on my bookshelf. All of these cards were from my honeymoon phase with Magic, defined by caring about every single card I opened, jamming games against my brother at our kitchen table, and taking my first steps into the game. I believe many Magic players have a similar start, and a shoebox of their own. On the weekend of March 13th, 2026, the inaugural Shoebox convention, with artists, vendors, and a plethora of events and formats, took place in a small convention hall in St. Paul, Minnesota. This first-year convention persevered through both the high-profile levels of ice activity in the area earlier in the year and a snowstorm to bring attendees a grassroots Magic event. With no official connection with Wizards of the Coast, this was a convention by and for the community.
The vague part of the idea was that everyone felt a little bit disaffected with what was going on with Magic around them, but they still really missed that feeling of going to events, seeing all their friends, getting to just jam games and play with them. And I think I wanted to make something that was for them and for people like them who felt like, there wasn't really a place in the current setup of events that they felt like they fitted in.
Greg Cortazzo, host of the Vertex Cube series and another founder of Shoebox, said the idea for the convention was first thrown around at CubeCon 2024.
The elevator pitch is just, what if Magic events weren't about winning and weren't about money? What if they were about playing Magic? And that's what we are trying to do here. We just want to accentuate the parts of Magic that we think are cool and that are worth accentuating.
Greg says that the name Shoebox purposefully calls back to many players' early days with the game.
There's this idea that Magic players have probably a nostalgia for the time that they were playing casual kitchen table Magic, a time when they didn't have to worry about which cards were the best in the meta, which cards were going to give them the best tournament results, which cards were worth a lot of money, these sorts of things. And I think keeping all your cards in a shoebox in your closet or under your bed is really evocative of this type of Magic where anything goes and the people that you're playing with are more important than the cards or the formats.
Hayu says that letting people enjoy playing the game is at the core of the ethos of Shoebox.
For me, it comes down to this phrase that I've been kind of throwing around in my head a lot, which is the idea of joyful belonging. I think Magic has always been a home for people who felt like they don't belong elsewhere, right? We've seen it with the classic nerds back in the day. You see it now with a lot of people in the trans community coming to Magic, and I think that that's something that Magic should be very proud of as a community. So for me, I really wanted to focus on that sense of belonging, of saying there is a space for you here. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how you like to play the game. It doesn't matter who you are. This is the place where you can come and actually just play Magic.
As for those ways to play, the Shoebox team focused on formats that don't see as much support from Wizards as mainline formats like Standard and Modern do. This focus was seen in the convention's main events, Cube, Team Limited, and Pauper. Shoebox supported these with a 10K and 5K prizing for Team Limited and Pauper respectively, as well as custom Shoebox trophies for each main event. Greg said he believes Cube embodies the energy behind Shoebox.
There's tons of Cube players out there that are burnt out of what Magic looks like these days. You see every imaginable configuration of Magic players at a Cube event because it's such a community-driven and customizable format. All this to say, I think it's just the perfect fit for something like this.
So I was really passionate about putting Team Limited in. I was really passionate about the Cube aspect of Shoebox. Also really about the indie formats, because when it gets down to it, Magic is just 500,000 different game pieces, and people can put those game pieces together however they want. And I think we really wanted to celebrate that aspect.
Those indie formats blossomed at Shoebox. While the main events played out in the far end of the hall, indie events dominated the entrance in the area called the Carnival.
The carnival is our free-to-play area at the convention. We obviously have paid sides and main events, but this area was supposed to just be come to the event, try all of these cool niche formats that you've probably maybe never even heard about, never seen, and we want to make it accessible. So we're going to make all of it free to play.
This burgeoning of the indie format's presence in combination with the intimate size of the hall meant that these formats weren't relegated off to the side or having to fight for tables, but instead were a featured part of the Shoebox experience.
It's really cool. It's awesome. I mean, I'm always wanting to showcase different ways to play Magic. I have tons of variants, not just Dan, and a lot of players are experiencing for the first time. I think this convention in particular that has been very much focused on the community and different variations of Magic and bringing everyone together to kind of try new things. And I've never seen as many formats showcased as there are here.
Whether it's Cube or Canlander or Dan or Pre-Modern or Value Vintage or whatever, we're all just here for the gathering more so than the Magic, right? We're here for the people who love the game and love finding new ways to play the game and being creative and being themselves. And I don't think any convention that we've been to has really exemplified that idea more than Shoebox has.
There were vendors at Shoebox who sold singles, packs, or merch on site. They said that they could feel the difference between Shoebox and other Magic conventions.
Most of the stuff going on is small communities all coming together, tons of cubes, Popper EDH, Dan, all that kind of stuff. So this is a bit more community forward, is what I've seen so far. You have a dedicated fan base that really knows what they want. So I will say the cards that people have bought from us are more niche. They are cards that might not sell in other places because of that.
Honestly, I've loved the vibes of this convention a lot. A convention that is like explicitly aimed at more niche formats, exposing people to fan-made indie formats, having a Cube main event, having a limited main event in the year of our Lord 2026. Not exactly the typical thing you find at Magic events anymore. This definitely feels a little more explicit niche Magic community focused.
Shoebox also featured a variety of official Magic artists such as Andrew Marr and Tyler Wapple. Hayu says it was a goal of the convention to feature official Magic artists as well as community artists who may not receive as much recognition in the official Magic ecosystem. Gold Sabertooth, an independent artist who designs playmats and tokens, said it feels good to be placed alongside official Magic artists.
Funny, it's like, I think sometimes like players make the distinction among artists more than artists make the distinction among artists. I think there's a tremendous amount of like respect and camaraderie among artists.
To get into Shoebox, attendees chose from a variety of badges that all provided entrance into the hall for the whole weekend, and the more expensive badges came with bonuses, such as playmats, pins, and more. There were also day badges for players who couldn't stay the whole weekend. Remember that playmat? That was designed by Andy Mangold.
I wanted it to be very visually busy and rich, so you could explore it. I was inspired by Where's Waldo sort of games, and so I wanted to have a space on the mat specifically designed for people to sign it. And I really like that when they sign the Shoebox, it kind of becomes part of the illustration.
You might have noticed one eye-catching aspect of that playmat: the Abolish Ice sticker. Shoebox had more than just the first year struggles to contend with. If you recall, the Minneapolis area was a hotbed of ice activity in the months leading up to Shoebox, which sparked many anti-ice protests in the city.
Obviously, 2 months ago, with all the various ice raids and the increased police presence and federal agent presence in town, it definitely called some things about the event into question. There are people that I know wanted to be here this weekend that did not feel safe traveling to Minnesota for completely justifiable reasons.
We want to try and support groups in the community that are resisting, that are helping. Andy was designing the playmat at the time of this happening, and he was like, I'm just going to slap an Abolish Ice poster on the playmat. And we were like, sure, great, do it.
I think it's important that we not separate politics from the rest of life and our hobbies, because it directly impacts it. Like I said, people wanted to be here, bought tickets, and did not feel safe coming. So it would be, I think, irresponsible of us to not acknowledge that fact for those of us that are able to be here.
The Magic community, like I said before, right, it's full of a lot of people who don't find homes elsewhere very easily. And that means it's full of a lot of marginalized people. When the ICE stuff started happening, obviously they were targeting marginalized people the most. When it first started happening, we were obviously felt a lot of the same emotions that everyone else felt reading those headlines. But also we were saying like, how can we act as like a responsible organization?
Alex Dawn, another founder of Shoebox, said they adopted a refund policy for attendees who chose not to come due to ICE's presence in the area.
At the start of January with the ICE shooting, the first ICE shooting, we'd literally been planning to have a big marketing push about that day, which obviously we like put on hold just when we thought things were like cooling down a bit. Another ICE shooting kind of put things on hold again. A lot of our like attempts to grow the event early on then were sort of delayed.
Ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, delaying your marketing by 6 weeks, not the most important compared to what's happening, but just in terms of the impact on us, it was much harder to kind of build the momentum as we went into the first events. It did end up affecting attendance a bit. We had people who didn't feel comfortable coming, you know, certain creators, artists, etc., judges. We did have to adjust our expectations of how big of an event it was going to be.
I'll admit, we did originally hope for a higher turnout, but you know, you can't control things happening in the world. And when things did get bad here, there was a point in time where we almost considered canceling it because, you know, obviously the safety and security of our attendees is our #1 priority.
Despite the ambiguity and many concerns leading up to the event, the weekend of Shoebox largely went without a hitch. However, attendees may remember the wonderful Minnesota weather that started Saturday evening.
I think it was forecast that on Saturday evening, Sunday morning, there was supposed to be something like 36 inches of snow between 2 and 7 a.m. or something crazy. If we were going to get completely snowed out and blizzarded out on Sunday and no one came, fine. Right? Like at that point, we were already extremely happy with how Friday and Saturday went. It ended up, I think, only being about 5 to 10 inches.
While some attendees left to escape the blizzard, others braved it out.
But we still had a surprisingly good turnout, I think. A lot of people came, and the mood was arguably even better than earlier in the weekend because there was this sort of like shared camaraderie of having to trudge through the snow.
It actually ended up being better than we thought it would be. Obviously, we did feel bad because it was hard for people to get home. So, you know, a lot of people had their flights cancelled, a lot of people had their flights delayed. I did see that the Value Vintage people were playing Magic on the bonnet of their car when they were snowed out on the side of the road, which was both impressive and somewhat worrying.
With ice concerns before, inclement weather during, and all of this on top of the convention's very first year, how does the Shoebox team think the weekend went overall?
Considering all the hurdles we had, it went beyond my wildest dreams. The feedback we've been getting has been incredible. Like we had put a survey out, and we've already gotten like more than a third of people have responded to it, which is already quite incredible. Nearly everybody is extremely likely to attend the next one and very happy with it.
For me, it was like wildly beyond my expectations. With the background of the ICE and the ICE, and you know all the issues that we had, I think that the key part for me was that we were trying to do something that was a little bit different. We put on the convention that we would want to go to as players. And the bet that we really made was we think that other people would also want to go to this convention that we want to go to. And we think that they would pay to go to it. Like the fact that we could prove that that core concept was solid was, I think, the #1 thing for me from the weekend.
The Shoebox team is already looking ahead to next year. So while the Shoebox goes back under the bed for now, you better believe it'll be back soon. I'd like to say thank you to all of the Shoebox team and all the other interviewees for their patience and kindness throughout this project. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, whatever. Now, if you don't mind me, I'll be looking back through my own Shoebox.